So, guys, how are you all doing? You're welcome to today's episode of Living Large Forex Academy. So, guys, based off on today's episode, I'll be talking about risk management and money management. You guys, I know by now you might have understand what market structure zones, point of interest, and all those things, what they are. So today now I'll be teaching you guys the main thing because I keep telling you guys that trading is all about calculated risk. I don't know if I'm making sense. If you don't calculate your risk well, trust me, at the end, like you end up dashing your money to the market. I don't know if I'm making sense. So now, let's proceed. When it comes to risk management and money management in the financial market, let's say now, for example, risk management and money management and money management. These are like just like the most important thing when it comes to trading, risk management and money management. Risk management and money management, just like based off on how you control your money. I don't know if it making sense. Because let's say now, for example, now let me give you guys some instance. Let's say for an example now, I have something like a $1,000, or should I use I think I'll use $1,000 trading account. Let's say I have something like $1,000 trading account. Now, you as a trader now, you already know that this is a $1,000, right? Now, this $1,000 now, I don't, one sec, this $1,000 now, I don't want you guys to put all your money in one basket. I don't know if you're making sense. This $1,000 now, I don't want you guys to put all your money in one basket. I don't know if you're making sense. But you as a trader now, before you put this $1,000 now, this $1,000 now, before you put this money inside your trading account, ask yourself, do I already have a backup funds? I don't know if you're making sense. For example, now, trading is all about taking risk. I don't know if you're making sense. Let's say, for example, now you saw something like a trade or you forced a trade on this market and mistakenly you lost all this $1,000 on your trading account. Now you see, like, you just see that at the end you end up being stranded. I don't know if you're making sense. Now, as a smart trader you are, I'm talking about money management. As a smart trader you are, this is what you are going to do. As a smart trader you are, this is what you are going to do. This $1,000, divide this $1,000 into five. Divide it into five. I don't know if you're making sense. Divide this $1,000 here into five. I don't know if you're making sense. Like, I don't want you guys to put all your money in one basket because at the end, the market will end up hitting you. I don't know if you're making sense. Now, divide this money into five. I think $1,000 divided by five should be around that kind to $200 each. I don't know if you're making sense. I made a mistake. Divide this money into five. Divide this money right here, this $1,000 into five. I don't know if it makes sense because now I keep telling you guys, if you carry all this money now and put inside your trading account, what if the market hurts you? I don't know if I'm making sense. That is why I want you guys to divide this $1,000 now into five. Now, once you divide this $1,000 now into five, 1,000 divided by five, it should give you $200 each. I don't know if it's making sense. Now, the first part of that $200, I want you guys to put that money inside your trading account. I don't know if I'm making sense. That's the first part of your $200. Put that money inside your trading account. I don't know if I'm making sense. Now, the remaining four there, with this, you will know that even if that first part of that $200 that, let's say, inside that your trading account, even if it goes against you, your emotions are still in check, that you still fund again and try again. I don't know if it's making sense. So now, for example, there's no way you would do this thing something like up to like three times, two to three times that you won't get it right. I don't know if I'm making sense. So I always tell you guys that make sure that when it comes to this market is all about risk, risk and calculations. I don't know if I'm making sense. Now, for example, let's say that first part of that $200 you invested inside your MT5, just in case that one goes against you, you will fund again from the remaining from the remaining four parts of the other to $200 each. I don't know if I'm making sense. Now, these are just what I'm telling you guys. Please make sure that you risk wisely. Don't put all your money in one basket. Diversify. I don't know if you're making sense. Let's say, for example, now you still made profit from that very first $200 you invested on your MT5. If you still made profit from that one, from that part, I still want you guys to diversify. What am I trying to say? Diversify into your other trading accounts. Gradually, you start scaling up. I don't know if I'm making sense. These are what money management are. I don't know if I'm making sense. These are what money management are. This is just like very, very simple. I don't know if I'm making sense. Now, when it comes to risk management, this one is just also very, very important. But for me, both of them, I call them, it's just like all of them are the same thing for me. I don't know if I'm making sense. So when it comes to this management is just like based off on, let's say, for example, now you have a trade like this, something like this. You have a trade like this. You know, as a trader you are now, and this thing I've already said this thing before, but I'll still say it again. I don't know if it's making sense. As a trader you are now, you have something like this, a setup that's like this. I don't know if it's making sense. And that setup, you know that this setup something like 1 to 8. I told you guys that bring out any amount you are risking on your trade. I don't know if it's making sense. And times it by this 1.8. It's very, very simple. It will just give you the amount you will gain. I don't know if it's making sense. Now, for example, now let's say I'm risking something like $1,000, or should I use? Yeah, I'm going to use $1,000, $1,000. Let's say, for example, now I'm risking something like $1,000 on my trades. I don't know if I'm making sense. This $1,000 now I'm risking on my trade. You already know that as a smart trader you are, this $1,000 you already have this money times five somewhere, maybe inside your wallet or inside your bank account or somewhere. I don't know if I'm making sense. Now, as a smart trader you are, you before you already invested this money inside this your MT5, you already know that you already have this money somewhere else. I don't know if it makes sense. Just in case this one still goes against you, you still remove from that one and still fund again. You try again. I don't know if it makes sense. Now, let's say for example, now this $1,000, this is just like my initial amount I want to risk on my trade. I don't know if it making sense. You know so well that I've already said this thing before, but I'm gonna say it again. I don't know if it making sense. This $1,000 now, if you bring out this $1,000 now and times it by your risk to reward, and okay, one sec, I'm times it by your guys. Can you see my cursor? This is my cursor right here. This 1.8. This 1.8 right here, this is just like my risk to reward. I told you guys that the only thing you guys are going to pay attention to is just like this target. That's your TP, your stop, that's your stop loss, and this your risk to reward. Nothing else. I don't want you guys to pay attention to all those things. And also your pips. Your pips are actually important. I don't know if I'm making sense. Your pips are actually important. I don't know if I'm making sense. Now, for example, now, as a trader you are, you already know that this $1,000 now I'm risking on this trade. I have a risk to reward of 1.8. I don't know if I'm making sense. And guys, mind you, this is gold. I don't know if I'm making sense. This is XAUUSD. The movement calculation of gold. Recently, the movement calculation of gold is bigger. I don't know if I'm making sense. So I want you guys to please do your calculations very, very well. I don't know if I'm making sense. The movement calculation of gold recently is bigger as at the time I'm recording this video. I don't know if I'm making sense. So guys, for example, now let's say I risk something like $1,000 on this trade. 1,000 times 1.8. That's 1,800 $800. That's if this particular trade now smashes my TP. This trade now, if this smashes this TP, I'm going to gain $1,800. I don't know if I'm making sense, but guys, as I just said now, this is gold. I don't know if I'm making sense. The movement calculation of gold recently, as at the time I'm recording this video, is bigger. I don't know if I'm making sense. Why if this shade right here goes against me, like let's say this shade right here now mistakenly goes against me, I'm losing this 1,000, the whole of this $1,000. As I just said, based off of money management. Remember, I told you guys that inside this money management, just in case this $1,000 here goes against me, I will still go back inside my other savings. I still remove another $1,000 and try again. don't know if it makes sense. So I want you guys to always think like a cheat. I don't want you guys to to make things difficult for you people. I don't know if it makes sense. Please don't put your money in one basket. I don't know if it makes sense. Trading carries a very high risk. I don't know if it makes sense. And I'm gonna advise you that as a beginner trader you are, you need a mentor. If you don't need a mentor, trust me, you won't know what you are doing on this market. I don't know if I'm making sense. So guys, that's all for risk management and money management. And please, if you know that you haven't yet watched my previous videos based off on zones, market structure, and entries, all are all, please, I want you to go back to those videos because without all these things I'm saying, you can never understand risk management and money management. I don't know if it's making sense. So guys, on my next video, I'll be talking about trading psychology. Trading psychology. I don't know if it's making sense. So cheers up guys. If you come across this YouTube channel, please I want you to like, share, and subscribe. So guys, have a nice day.